Ooh, that is a fantastic looking fire you have up there.
It is, yeah. Let me go full screen, though.
And it has crackling, too.
It does.
So, listen to that. Oh, yeah. Welcome back to the show, right?
Mm-hmm.
A little crackle pop on a nice April day.
Just a couple gentlemen with a YouTube fire going.
Dude, it's supposed to be super sunny tomorrow.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's like 70-something, I heard. Which, here in Portland, that's really nice.
Yeah. That's that's hot as fuck, too.
Right?
It's only 63 right now, and like I was sweating on the way over.
Yeah. I know. It's so fucking funny. Like anytime it gets over 60 whatever, I'm always thinking like, dude, it's got to be hotter than it is. You know, then you check the temperature and like, oh my God, it's not even 70 degrees and I'm sweating my nutsack off.
I know. It's going to be 10 degrees hotter tomorrow, too.
Fuck yeah, bro. The older I get, the more I want nice weather. This is something I know. I used to fight it. Like, I took pride in the fact that I was, you know, a dark Portland folk that liked the rain and cold.
Yeah.
And I still do, but I'm also tired of being fucking depressed all the goddamn time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, as a kid, I mean, video games work regardless of the weather.
Yeah.
And that's typically...
And so being in a band works too.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was that kid that like all the seasons like blurred together for me.
Right.
It wasn't... Now it's very much like, oh my God, summer, I'm so pumped. Like, I'm never going to be in the house. Like, I get really stoked for it, and there's like a separation in seasons. But as a kid, you have no money.
Yeah.
You have no liberty.
You got nothing.
So you're like, oh, what am I going to do this summer? Well, probably what I did fall, winter, and spring. So...
Exactly. For sure. No guest tonight. That's just the way it is, you know. We're just gonna hang tight. We're gonna keep it loose. We're gonna hang tight and keep it loose, though.
Yeah.
You know, with a nice fire going on in the corner. What's been going on with you, buddy? How's your week going?
Going pretty good.
You working
standard? Yeah. Things are.
Me too.
Things ramp up out of nowhere. I was thinking about it today. Like, in life, you have zero fucking control over like the ebbs and flows, like the peaks and valleys of like busyness. So your only choice, and I, you know, in my mid-20s, I would try to like, I had the arrogance to think I could control that. Like, just start saying no to more things and like start blowing off more people, and eventually they'll quit asking you to do things, and then you'll have fewer opportunities, which will be nice because with fewer opportunities comes like less stress. But then you get depressed and you isolate, and that's not really what you want. It really comes down to balance. You don't want to just nuke your fucking calendar.
No.
You want to balance it, and you want to like just honestly, the cheat code is just building up that mental resilience and just kind of managing stress and just being like, is this truly a stressful thing, or do I just have a lot on my plate? And if I attack things one at a time and just try to get 2 things done today, 2 things done tomorrow, like it's been very much like I'm learning like at 32 years old to fucking just the baby steps of one thing at a time.
Yeah, and you've been inspiring, like I've been telling you were inspiring me to start working out again.
Yeah.
Because you've been so good about doing that lately. And I was thinking about it because I was listening to a podcast with Aubrey Marcus.
Yeah.
The guy from On It. And Rogan actually was the guest.
Yeah, I want to see that one. That's recent, right?
Super good. They just dropped. Yeah, really, really good.
Just saw that it was a thing. Yeah,
enjoyed every minute of it. And one of the things we're talking about was struggle in your life, and how like that's one of the many benefits to working out, or even if it's not working out, working on something that you're going to work hard on, like something you believe in.
Yeah,
that it's like humans need struggle.
Right.
They need it. And if you're not going to go and create that struggle, that pain, that resistance through either exercise or, like I said, working on something that's going to take a lot of your time and brain power, then you're going to create that struggle in your life.
Yeah.
And I've been there. I've been recently in this place, that place where just your life is getting you down. Like, it's just hard to manage your life. That your life alone is a struggle. That's a bad place to be. You want to be in a place where the things around you are a struggle, like the the workload you were just talking about. And if you're not there, then yeah, you're gonna create struggle for yourself. You're gonna start creating problems for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. You should never want to get rid of struggle, but
Exactly.
you should be in a place where the things you can't control are the primary source of struggle.
Yes.
If there are things you can control and there's a struggle there, then there's a systemic issue.
Yep.
Your system is broken.
Or if you're controlling and you're purposely adding resistance.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Yeah, that's a very common thing too.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's why people do martial arts. That's why people do things that are difficult, run marathons or some shit.
Yeah, well, and my issue is just it feels counterintuitive sometimes when I have a lot going on that's stressing me out. The idea of ignoring all of it to go for a run is like, dude, I don't have time. All this shit is stressing me out and I'm going to go run outside. I don't have time for that. But the thing you're not seeing in that moment is that
that's what's best.
Yeah, you can manage that stress better if you're coming at it from a more like cognitively clear place. You've worked out, and I mean there's all kinds of science that backs up how stress reducing exercise is. Get those endorphins up, and then you're done with that. You have that sense of accomplishment, and that momentum can kind of carry you through whatever tasks are driving you fucking crazy.
Absolutely. This is really funny. I see 3 fires. I see 3 of those fires.
All of a sudden,
TV,
it's
the
like
laptop, and the reflection in this
not
window.
calming when there's that many.
I'm like, is this room burning down right now? I always wish you could talk about some of the stuff you're working on.
I know. Yeah, that would be cool.
Because like the thing you were just talking about was pretty interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was bitching about it, but yeah,
True,
it is. It's
true.
a cool thing that's just been a little annoying, but I mean, that's to be expected. Yeah, I know. Just on the way over, I was thinking about the thing that I brought up to you a couple weeks ago.
Mhm.
It's like still like the biggest thing I've probably ever worked on, I think. Yeah, I've been thinking about just like fucking letting that loose, but I'm gonna wait because it's still like just very early, so it wouldn't
I
be
wish
smart.
you could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm about to work on round 2.
That's going to be a good one to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. I'm excited to. I think this weekend I'm going to submit.
Dude, that's fucking crazy.
I know it is. It's really weird.
Like I want to talk about it with the fans.
Yeah,
But we can't.
I know. It'll be cool though.
But you will be able to.
Yeah, overall, it's going to be better because I don't want to be that guy that like talks about shit. I want to be able to show stuff and
Sure.
Totally.
I mean, it's what I like about you.
Yeah.
What's your website? It Came from the Sky?
No, it's just alanashcraft.com.
Oh, that's right.
I'm working on a new one though. That the current website is like it's gotten no love for like 6 months. I'm kind of redesigning and like most
your
creatives,
Instagram's more.
Yeah,
up-to-date.
the Instagram's where to go, and it came from the sky on Instagram. Thinking about changing that to Alan Ashcraft too. It's a weird thing, like kind of like we were talking about potentially changing the name of the podcast. It's I'm in the same boat with It Came from the Sky has just been a moniker I've had since I started. So there's a little bit of that, like it's kind of sentimental, and it's I don't really think that there's like a brand necessarily built around it, even after 15, 16 years, whatever it's been.
Yeah.
And I mean,
yeah, because most people probably still know you by your name more than anything. Right?
yeah, well, and listen, if that moniker is going to be sentimental, how about my actual fucking name, which I've had for an additional, like 16 years, 17 years or something. So, yeah, I don't know. And it's a crazy unique name too. That's like just the last name Ashcraft. It's
so unique.
Everybody, it's always Ashcroft, always. So I think last time I looked, there were literally 3 Alan Ashcrafts with the exact spelling. One of them is a fire chief in Ohio.
That does sound like a fire chief.
Yeah. So.
Hey, Ashcraft.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of fires, we might as well just talk about it since this is the theme of the show. We got
solid
fires
segue.
everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what they call me, James Segway Macmillan. But they really mean those dorky things that you ride.
Yeah. Yep.
Which I've never actually been on.
Me neither, dude. People breaking their asses on those all the time.
I'm not a beta fucking loser.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, you were saying you didn't care all that much, which is pretty heartless of you.
Yeah.
And all the people in Paris are gonna
Pretty standard
not
of
like
me.
you. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is crazy though. Like historically, it's been what is it, like over 850 years.
Yeah, I don't even know, but I mean, I believe that.
So what's crazy to me is just like the length of time that buildings can last. It
No.
lasted the French Revolution,
Mm.
all that destruction, and that stood. It lasted World War II and fucking Hitler. I read somewhere that Hitler actually directed the German army not to bomb the Notre Dame.
Oh, like out of respect. For,
Yeah.
See, I've always said he's
Isn't
a good
that crazy?
dude.
I always try to defend
People
that guy.
don't believe me, but like, there's a good point right
I'm
there.
like, look, he's a little misunderstood.
Yeah,
He was really ambitious,
exactly.
and he was really,
His birthday's coming up, isn't it?
dude. Let's go out for his birthday.
I think it's 420.
You want to do something for that?
I'm down.
Dude, this got dark really quickly. Oh man, we're
I mean, listen,
dancing with the devil
if
right
it's
now, bro.
too soon for Hitler jokes, I mean, come on.
Do you think that there's any topic that you can't laugh about or like make a joke about?
No,
Me neither.
I
I think
that,
the too soon thing can happen, but that's
yeah,
who decides that, right?
I think that there's certain topics that are extra challenging to make funny for sure. But it's
Like
shit-
what?
Fuck, dude.
Just kidding.
I mean, I'll really answer that. But yeah, it's in tragedy is subjective as well. You know, like if
Yeah, exactly.
there could be a school shooting, I make a joke about it. But if my little brother is one of the kids in that school shooting, that particular school shooting is now a little less funny to me personally.
Right.
So then there's that, you know, how are you inserted into that situation? So I get it. I don't think that
I
there's,
know.
you know, to answer your question a different way, there isn't anything that can be joked about and literally everybody thinks it's funny.
Right.
Because I mean, I have to answer your question subjectively. Like, I think you could make everything funny, but that's just because I have my brain and I know how I feel about shit.
Yeah.
So, but I'm sure there's people out there that you literally couldn't make anything. They could stub their toe and you
I
can't.
know. God, how would you want to be one of those people? And
Yeah.
they exist, man, by the fucking thousands.
Yeah, and they're cool with it.
I would argue that once you can start making fun of shit, that now you know you're going to be okay.
Yeah, take away its power.
Like if you have cancer, yeah, I'm sure for the first fucking while you're not going to want to crack jokes about that.
Yeah.
I get it. But
Yeah.
once you can, dude, you're right. Like you just said it. Now
Mhm.
you have the power. You are in control.
Yeah, exactly.
I realized that when my grandfather passed away, I was super bummed. My wife went out on the limb and made a joke. She made a dead grandpa joke, and it fucking landed, and it was so goddamn funny, and it came from such a place of love that I was just like, yes,
Yeah.
that's it. I'm okay now.
Well, there was
I
that
know I'm gonna be all right.
there was that British comedian that recently died on stage.
Really?
Yeah, he like had a heart attack or some shit, died.
Yo.
Everybody obviously thought it was a joke.
What's his name?
I don't know. You can literally just put in British comedian
Yeah, I'm sure.
and then dead stage, whatever. I'd never heard of him.
Then dead Steve.
Yeah. And he so everybody thinks it's a joke, and then finally he, you know, AMR is called or whatever the British.
Like while he's dying, people thought he was just pulling a gag.
They were like, "Oh, this is," because he had been talking about how he didn't feel well and he almost wasn't going to show up to the show.
Incognito.
And he even made the joke, "How funny would it be if I died tonight on stage?"
Oh my God! No
And then,
way.
Yeah, a handful of minutes later, he does, and he's carted off, and everybody realizes it's real. The MC gets on the stage and goes, "Listen, you guys, this is how he would have wanted to go. Let's be real." And then like there's kind of some silence, and then the MC goes, "Maybe a bit bigger of a venue though," and a lot of people started laughing. And this dude died 7 minutes ago, so it all depends on the environment. It just
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I
it's-
guess you know if it works if people laugh, right? I mean,
Right.
That's the test of a good joke.
yeah.
So yeah, British comedian Incognito died on stage Thursday evening during a stand-up performance. He was in his early 60s. He fell ill during the performance at the Attic Bar in the English town of, but I won't even try to pronounce that, 14 miles north of Oxford. Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, the audience thought it was part of the act, died with his boots on. That's commitment to comedy. I'll never forget his kindness when I was, whatever, someone talking about him.
Yep.
Jesus Christ. Oh, it goes on to say around halfway through his set, when he fell ill, he sat down, put his head and arms back. His shoulders were twitching. And then the audience thought it was part of the set because he was a flamboyant character on stage, didn't seem unusual. And then a few minutes after that, he died.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's fucking nuts.
I mean, that's the shit that Andy Kaufman would talk about doing. Like
Yeah.
Andy Kaufman's
I know.
big thing, he actually wanted to light himself on fire on stage and die that way.
Do you like that kind of humor?
I mean, is that humor?
Yeah,
Like, that's insane.
that's a valid question.
That's
Alan.
really, really bizarre. Like, what is the...
It's
where's the
not my cup of
punchline there?
tea. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not big on it, but I get the argument that like there's some genius there.
Right. Yeah,
but
yeah. I
it's
mean,
not my thing.
I have a thing with, for me, comedians, it should always be humor first, like with a bullet. If there are dudes like Bo Burnham or fucking
He's great.
John Mulaney, Jerry Seinfeld, that they have like some like lessons, I guess, for lack of a better term, within a lot of their material, especially Bo. Like his shit, he's got a massive
And he's
social
been doing it
commentary
since he was a kid.
Oh yeah, he's a prodigy. But they always make sure that it's still fucking hilarious. That needs to be number one. Otherwise, it's this weird like slam poetry thing where
Right.
you might as well just be wearing a fedora and like,
It gets all preachy.
yeah,
and,
it's just not. It doesn't work. It turns the venue into a coffee house, and it's just
Agreed.
It's cringy. But if it's always funny, if the comedy is leading that performance, I think you can say a lot of
totally.
really vast things.
What else do you want to talk about, Alan? We
I
were
watched
saying-
I watched this documentary on Vice. It's called Dark Side of the Ring. It's so weird because like I grew up
What is that about?
professional wrestling.
Oh, okay. I was thinking of something else.
I grew up watching. My grandpa was really into professional wrestling, and so I got into that. And like the WWF wasn't really my thing,
I can never get into it.
but I was really into like WCW with like fucking Dean Malenko and Perry Saturn, and fucking
know
Rey
who that
Mysterio
is.
Jr. and
Oh,
Raven
wow.
and Rhino and Goldberg. And
Is that like a step down from WWF or something?
I think
Like
that was
lesser known?
I think that's what most people thought. I liked it more. I just thought it was a better product overall. It was a little cornier, so I think as a kid, watching cartoons and shit all the time, I gravitated towards that cartooniness, like the goofy, like they had like more luchadors that were fucking spinning and shit in the air. Rey Mysterio was like my dude for the longest time. But yeah, so I really liked it. And then, I grew up like by 13, I think I was just like, this is so stupid. And I lost track of, who the big names were. And
right.
so, I have like, there's a part of my brain that loves that shit. But I don't actively watch it now. And there's this documentary, Dark Side of the Ring, that it kind of dives into specific, like iconic characters or moments or whatever within professional wrestling. And episode 1 is I'm already gonna forget his fucking name, but it was a wrestler I'd never heard of, and I guess he was a really big deal in like the 70s and it must have been like the 80s, early 90s. But he was primarily in like Japan, and he was in some other country. But he was he was like 6. I want to say he was like 6'6", 340.
Jesus.
It was like something
just a monster.
not Bruno. Oh, Brody the Bruiser or some shit like that. Anyway, massive dude, and he ends up killing it. Like he's awesome. He's kind of like an earlier Andre the Giant. People love him.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of wrestlers were jealous of his notoriety, his like rise to stardom and shit. He ends up getting stabbed to death
Good God.
by these other wrestlers, and it's legitimately a fucking really sad story. It was, but
That sounds like a real.
it was really
Positive.
entertaining. It was so entertaining. It doesn't really end super happy, and it's really
Does it give like a good inside look on the world?
yeah, exactly. Well, it just shows how like non-regulated things were, and just and then how sketchy everybody gets post attack. A lot of people were oh no, a fan stabbed him. And but I will say that the one like really uplifting thing is he's got this this buddy. See, I keep wanting to say Teddy Atlas, but that's a boxing trainer. But maybe this dude just has the same fucking name. He's just a really built, like a huge built.
Is this on Netflix?
No, it's how did I access it? I think I accessed it through just the Vice app.
Right.
And I think I have that like via a Comcast login. This goes back to last podcast when I was complaining about just jumping through hoops and shit to figure out all your shit. Yeah, I can't remember the dude's name. But anyway, there was another professional wrestler that was like a close friend of Brody's, and he ends up standing up against a bunch of other wrestlers that then wanted him killed. Anyway, I'm doing a terrible job of explaining it, but Dark Side of the Ring.
No, I got you.
Episode 1, fantastic.
Cool.
For some annoying reason, episode 2 is just missing, and then episode 3 is all about Macho Man, and his like really unhealthy relationship with Miss Elizabeth, who was kind of like one of the first like divas or like female, like iconic female figures within professional wrestling, and that one was a little less interesting, but like still pretty cool. And I think a lot of people listening are probably way more familiar with that era, you know, Hulk Hogan and.
Yeah, I'm surprised to hear that you were into wrestling at all.
Yeah,
but you're not anymore.
No,
I couldn't imagine
silly.
You.
Yeah,
it is very silly.
Yeah, it's.
I want to make fun of it, and I do and will, but yeah. I think why people like it is because it's like such a funny, well written show. You know?
Right.
If you just go into it, I mean, it's obviously fucking fake and
yeah,
all that goes with it. But
a lot of hardcore fans will say it's not fake; it's predetermined. Like these guys are really taking slams and blah, blah, and it's like okay, but they're also being body slammed in a very coordinated manner. Like these are
not wrestling.
Yeah, these are trained dudes body slamming each other on a canvas with springs under it.
Right.
But when they get body slammed, they act like they just got hit in the back with a fucking train.
Yeah, I mean, we're both fight fans. You do one roll session of jiu-jitsu or, you know, grappling of any kind. You know, say that to an NCAA wrestler that's actual wrestling.
Right.
They'll fucking laugh at you.
I mean, that's why I love that CM Punk went to the UFC, because you can kind of it gives you a really good. Yeah. You see that kind of juxtaposition.
Like, you're not a real fighter.
Right.
Got it.
Yeah. And even the way I guess he showed me that it was so, it is clearly easier to look athletic in the professional wrestling world, because I'm not even talking about how quickly he got starched in whatever round. And I don't think he got knocked out. I think his second fight went the distance, but he still like very decidedly lost. But even his movement, like him walking Mickey Gall down, he looks so fucking weird.
Silly.
Dude, it was insane.
Well, it looked like he was acting. He was being a fighter.
Yes,
like I've watched movies with Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
I watched The Fighter.
I mean, all that being said, it takes massive balls to even get in there and do it. And
hell yeah.
That's awesome that he did it. And I guess he's still training. He's like a fucking blue belt.
My ass, that's for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
It's crazy.
Yeah, he's nuts.
I love fighting terms like going the distance. Some got starched.
Yeah.
Where does starch? Where did that come from?
I think it means I've always understood it as meaning like going stiff. Like if somebody starches your shirt, it gets it. Right. And when you get knocked out, you go stiff and you fall down. I don't even know if that's right.
Is there any way you could turn that light off?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you. It's just awful. Yeah, going the distance. What are the other ones always here?
Is that cool if I just?
Oh yeah, that's
off. That's at least it's not in our face now.
What was the other one they always say?
Oh man, there's a bunch, dude. One of my favorites is getting mushed, because that one sounds
murked.
Murked is one.
Yeah. Mushed. I've never heard that.
Yeah, so mushed is it's like older verbiage that just basically means you're up against a guy who just with pure strength, not even technique, just fucks you up. Like just holds you down and it's gorilla shit. Like he just takes your head and like jams it into the canvas as hard as he can until you fucking pass out. Like no technique. He's not a ninja or anything.
I see.
It's like it's what a grizzly bear would do to me.
Right.
He just mushed me. He's not going for my legs or like he's not finding my weaknesses. He's just grabbing my head and neck and just crushing it. You know. I love it.
Fucking hilarious.
Yeah, there's a bunch. Fuck, dude. What else? What other verbiage is there?
Yeah, murked, going the distance.
In describing dudes, you hear
Starch.
like a lot of like Joe Rogan and shit. You'll hear a lot of like he's a motherfucker
Yeah,
or
motherfucker.
a bad motherfucker. You hear
a beast.
Yeah, beast is a. That's pretty common nomenclature, like in like just within all sports.
Yep.
There's savage is another one. Like he's a goddamn savage.
And then there's more like boxing specific ones, like powerful Joe Rogan, the powerful so and so. Isn't that a fight term? The powerful someone.
Yeah, probably. It definitely could be used as that, or like he tuned him up.
Beat the brakes off him.
Yeah,
that's another one.
There's like
That's funny.
yeah, the Jorge Masvidal one. When he fucked up Leon Edwards. Did you ever see that?
Mm-mm.
So Jorge Masvidal had just beaten, I believe, Darren Till, which was very impressive. No one really had him down to, including me. I'm a massive Masvidal fan, which we'll talk about him next. But I didn't even have him, like, on paper. I did not have him beating Till, and he does.
Right.
Knocks him out, and or gets a TKO, one or the other. And he's doing an interview, and Leon Edwards walks by. Leon Edwards had just beaten, I think via decision, Donald Cerrone.
Oh, okay.
So he's walking by and he says something, and I couldn't quite hear what he said, but then Masvidal just says, hey, maybe not, as a response. And then he was going to let it go, and then Leon said something else, so he walks over to him with his hands behind his back, and I guess Leon put his hands up as Masvidal got closer. So Masvidal just hits him, gets him like 2 or 3 times, and it went viral afterwards because he said, somebody was like, hey, I heard that like you and Leon got in a fight. And he goes, yeah, I gave him I think he says a 3-piece and a soda. That's what he says.
Fuck.
And everybody, like, I had heard that before, but apparently a lot of people hadn't because they fucking loved it.
What does that mean? Like a 3-piece chicken?
Three punches is what he landed, but then he just puts it into like a fucking, into like a value meal, like type of.
Oh, like a 3-piece.
Yeah.
And a soda.
Yeah, he got 3-piece and a soda.
Chicken McNugget meal.
So funny.
That's so fucking. Fighters are great, man.
They are, yeah, because they're different. Like you've got to be
different.
a little unhinged.
Oh, for sure.
Just like stand-up comedy, you got to be a little
talkers.
crazy. So when I hear that like Louis C.K. is fucking jerking off all over himself,
I'm like, and
I'm like, dude, he stands in front of people and he fucking tries to be funny. Like that's crazy too.
he talks about jerking off all the time anyway. What are we so surprised
I
about?
know. Dude, he had a bit about how he wanted a hand job so bad, and his wife and him hated each other so much she didn't want to touch his dick. So he grabbed her hand and jerked himself off.
I love that.
Like, dude, that's the saddest shit.
Saddest story.
It fills me
ever.
with depression to think about that. Like, this woman fucking hates you.
Like, come on.
Oh, it's so
Come on.
sad.
Get it over with.
Yeah. And she's just looking away, and oh God.
Yeah, my wife.
Heartbreaking.
My wife always leans into the fact that it's gonna sound fucked up, but you know my love for the Jew type girl, the Jew looking girl, Lake Bell. My wife. I love Israeli girls. Like I like the weird nose. Lady Gaga is my type. Like I like the schnoz.
The Lady Gaga one's like too much though, right?
It is too much.
Okay.
It is. It's a little much, but
That's
I still want to suck on that nose.
Right.
I wanna
Okay.
suck
Hey,
on it.
you know.
And I also like that they're like sturdiest. You know, they can like raise a child.
Oh, for sure.
And,
yeah.
and their hands are calloused from lifting babies all day. And that's like that turns me on.
Yeah.
And my wife thinks it's the weirdest and funniest thing all at the same time. So she'll like really poke fun at me about it. So the whole like impatient woman jacking you off thing, like, come on, I got fucking kids to feed. Come on.
Oh, that's like ideal to you.
That's like my thing, dude.
Whoa.
That like gets me going, bro.
Yeah.
You're kind of an asshole to me. And like, come on, boy, just get it done. I gotta go fucking cook soup.
That's so funny because like
right?
You and I have talked, especially recently, about how like you're a more sensitive guy and I'm not.
Yeah.
And yet like my preference in that situation is the opposite of yours. So you as a sensitive guy would be cool with like a relatively pushy
you're
woman.
blowing my mind.
And
That's
I'm the other
probably
way.
Why.
I need like I almost need this
Right.
like softness and like
Yeah, you want the nurturing. You're
Yeah,
like, it's
the
okay, baby.
encouragement.
I'm gonna my soft feminine hands. Will
yeah.
jerk you off to sleep.
I want the exact opposite.
Right. You know, I think it's even more fucked up for me because my mom is more the nurturing type. She's a very sweet person.
Yeah.
And so it's like I have those expectations for what my partner should be subconsciously. And Ashley will never fulfill that side. Not to that degree. I mean, she's very sweet. And she's not a fucking monster. But she's
It's just not her personality.
not her vibe. And so it's like she can't win. It's even worse.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know? Like
Dude,
it's what I want is Ashley, but I also it's not good enough. So I'm always going to push for her to be that nurturing, sensitive type.
Yeah, push her to be like what she's not. I think
Yeah.
we all fucking do
It's
that.
a nightmare.
Yeah, we all do that. That's the thing you have to, in a relationship, you have to constantly remember to not do that and just
I know.
let this person be. Because
Be
I've been
who they are.
I've been guilty of it too, like getting to know a girl and you're like, okay, she's a little wild and I kind of, that's not my thing. Can't really start a family with like a wild girl. But you know, it's cool. I'll get into this relationship and then she'll slowly change. I don't know
then when
why
they
we
don't.
do that. Because then you get into, and she doesn't, and you have to constantly remind yourself, like, you got to let her do what she's going to do.
That's very interesting.
You cannot put those handcuffs on, because it's not like she's going to respond well to that.
No.
And it goes both ways. I know there are plenty of women I know that have done that to dudes as well. Like, oh, well, we met at a club.
Jesus Christ, yeah.
And he's like,
Don't want to fix men.
he's a bad boy, but like, give me
Yeah.
6 months, he'll be wearing sweater vests
Be
and
the
shit.
father of my. Yeah, it's like, what do you think Tommy's gonna do?
Fuck no.
Tommy's gonna fucking cheat on you.
Yes. Yeah, for
They say
sure.
Tommy for a reason. Hint,
Mhm.
hint, friends.
Yep.
They all know. They all know this guy.
They're all the same. Tommy, Jason,
Tommy Jason.
fucking Chad.
Did I ever tell you about the Jeepers Creepers story? So my friend Tom, I'll just say the name.
Yeah.
He knows. It's not a surprise.
Old Tommy
He's an
boy.
absolute fucking maniac. He was married to this poor Korean girl, by the way, and now I hear that they're getting separated because he obviously is not faithful to her.
Right,
Because
yeah.
he's Tom. But unrelated story, this one time he was doing it with a young lady, a nice suburban girl. And this young lady was dating another one of our friends, whose name I won't name because he's more of a sensitive guy. A very nice gentleman. And I think they had just broken up or some shit. And so she was fucking around with Tommy. And Tom is really funny. And sometimes he's got this high voice when he gets really excited. And he says things like neat and neato and swell. And he's one of the funniest fucking people in the world.
He says it like ironically?
Yeah, ironically.
Oh, okay.
But no one else that doesn't know him doesn't know he's doing that.
Right.
Anyway, he blew his load and he cummed on this girl's stomach, and out loud he goes, "Oh, jeepers creepers."
Oh, my.
Or maybe it was just, "Oh, jeepers." That's what it is. He just goes, "Oh, jeepers."
Wow.
And the girl looked at him like he was obviously going to fucking wear her skin later that night.
So wait, she wasn't aware of his gimmick?
No, she had no idea.
And he couldn't turn the fucking gimmick off?
Well, because I mean, it is kind of who he is. Like he still does that, but he always has a sense of humor running through him. But you know, if you didn't know Tom, that's a crazy thing to say after you come on some poor girl's stomach. Oh, jeepers!
Oh,
That's
my
a frightening
God.
thing to hear.
It's horrifying.
I know this fucking older guy comes on your tummy, and then he says, "Oh, jeepers!"
Yeah.
in a very high pitched like. Oh,
So they
what
were
did
like-
I do?
They were a new relationship or like a one-night stand?
I think a one night stand. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
obviously it was one night. She ain't coming back.
Yeah.
Fuck.
He was the one last episode I told you about, the guy that ran up in the hills with his boxers only and
Yeah.
a can of beans
Wow.
and had been pissing in cans in the cabin.
What the fuck, man?
Yeah, Tom is one of the funniest fucking people in the world, though. I mean, literally, like, I'm not sure if I've laughed harder than being around that guy. He's such a fucking degenerate, though. He's so fucking disgusting.
Is he one of those guys that seems like he's here for a good time, not a long time? Like he might die at 40.
I don't know. I would have assumed that growing up with him just by the speed in which he was consuming all of the drugs
Yeah.
and just doing all of the things.
Yep.
But now as he gets older, I think he's more like he's got that cockroach blood. He's just never going to go away.
Mm-hmm. I think I have that too.
And he's also arguably one of the most intelligent people I've ever met.
Yeah, I have that as well.
He just goes to school forever. He's always going to be in college. He's working on his fucking doctorate right now or some shit. Jeez. I mean, he's really, really smart. And when he puts his head down, he's like just a very normal, successful person.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got the darkness.
So he's trying to be a doctor?
I think like what's the non-medical? Is that just PhD?
I have no idea.
I think that's the difference, MD and PhD.
I don't have a high school diploma, so.
Do you really don't?
No.
Oh, wow. Did you drop out?
I got expelled.
That's not surprising.
Yeah, my senior year too.
What happened?
I would wake up and it would be like noon. And I'm like, well, I'm not.
That's the first problem.
What's the point of going to? I'm just going to play Tekken. And I would just kind of play Tekken, and then I did that for so many months that.
Just your senior year, you did this, or were you always like that?
I was kind of always like that. I gave it an honest try. Like the first 6 months in ninth grade, I got like one PE credit.
This is more like me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was a piece of shit.
And then I started falling apart, and like I was playing music, doing the band thing.
Sure.
I was like, fuck high school.
And
and then one day it was like, I think it was like April or May of my senior year. So I had like a month and a half of school left. I was like, I'm going to turn my life around. Like, it's time to figure this out. I need to go ahead and get 4 years worth of credits in a month. And I was like, okay, starting today. So I go in at like 7:30 or some shit. I was a little bit late. So I had to go get a note at the office, and I gave them my name, and they're like, you're not in our system. I was like, what does that mean? They're like, oh, you have been expelled. Do you want to talk to the principal about it? And I was like, no. So I walked back out to I had a Ford Bronco. I missed that thing so much. And I called my mom as I was and I was like, what do I do? Like, I've been expelled. Yeah. Like, get a job. So like a week later, I had a job in an apartment. And
in an apartment?
Yeah.
You had moved out?
Yep.
And you were how old? Were you 18 yet?
Either 17 or 18. Yeah.
Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah. And then I got a job at C-Tech, which was like I put together pressure washers on like an assembly line.
Sounds terrible.
Yeah, it was fucking awful. I was like $8.25 an hour. I worked with some straight up psychopaths. I worked next to a guy once. I got put on this line, and next to me was this dude named Pete, which is funny because I talked about a Pete last time. Different guy though. This wasn't the guy that gets naked when he shits in public.
Dude, that is just.
This was the guy that was like legit creepy.
Killer.
He was like Quarter Confessions type, like just. Oh my God, some of the stories he told me were just heinous, like just admitting to legit felonies.
Right.
Like sexual assault type felon. And I'm like, cool, man. Yeah, so I'm just going to like.
I love those kind of jobs.
Yeah.
Because of that reason.
Yeah.
The jobs are terrible, but you meet these fucking people.
Real people. Like nasty fucking, oh my God.
Were you worried that this was your life now since you didn't graduate?
A little bit, but I also just.
But you also had the thing that you have now, which is like, I'm going to be fine.
Yeah, kind of. Like
my mom told me I'm going to be a composer.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. I was like, I'm going to figure something out. I always have. And yeah, I don't know. I've always had that thing that, like I've told you before, if I don't love it, I'm not going to do it for very long. Me too. And I knew I got there and I was like, I don't love this, so I'm going to do it as long as I can. And I was there like 10 months. And then I was like, I don't need this shit.
Dude, I didn't graduate. I got my diploma from PCC, actually. Portland Community College.
Oh, okay.
For non-locals. Yeah, in my junior year, actually more like my sophomore year, I started to tour a lot in the band I was playing in. I mean, for that age, that was a lot. You know, if you go out for more than 2 weeks in high school, that's a lot.
Oh, yeah, dude.
That's and then insane. I kept picking up more, and then we had a thing we were going to do for like 2 months, and it just kept happening. And the lead singer of my band at the time, he was a year older than us. And so he did the same thing. He had dropped out from high school and got his high school diploma. He did it the senior year at the community college. And he did it in like 3 months or some shit. And I was like, fuck yeah, that's what I want to do. So I did it. And it was the best thing I ever did, man. Like my parents, they knew. There's no debate really. You know, I was just like you. I didn't show up very often. When I did, I was just so uninterested. You know, I think public school really misses the mark on this. You know, for so long, I always felt guilty about being a bad student and not focusing in school. And I also felt like I was dumb or something. Like I wasn't retaining math, and I wasn't gravitating towards that kind of learning. But now that I'm older, it's like, well, I think it's also that there's just they deliver one type of learning for one type of person.
Well, and they do it over and over for years.
And over and over. And it's so uninteresting.
By 10th grade,
so fucking boring.
I was learning shit that I had learned legitimately in like 6th, 7th grade.
And if you're the way that I'm not trying to say me and you were like awakened. We were more woke than everyone else, but kinda like I was way past that by that point. I was like, fuck, I've already seen the country 2 times over.
I just didn't know
what am I doing here.
I didn't know that I was on the right path, like by blowing off school, because that was so
taboo.
People forget that back then you were told like,
you're a loser now.
Yeah, if you don't go to college, you'll be homeless. You won't get a good job.
I know.
And we all believed it. And so part of me was like, I'm going to be fucked. But then the other part of me was like, I'll figure it out. Like,
yeah,
I'm going to, like, my resilience has always been my strongest quality. It's kind of gotten me through a lot of things. And that's really where it started to shine the most for me, was around like 18. I was like, I'll figure it out. I'm doing this band thing.
Yep.
That's real fun. And, you know, you're also at 18. You're like, dude, I'm going to fucking live forever.
I'm going to live forever.
I've got so much time. And
I know.
I was like, I'll start worrying about this
out soon. That's crazy.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm going to worry about shit at 25. And then at 25 rolls around. It's like, okay. And the pressure it was 28, I think, when I was like, okay, what's up? Yeah. Like, let's do so. And I think that's when I started looking for design jobs.
It was about the same for me.
Yeah.
Late 20s. I got married and I considered other things other than music for the first time ever.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I've always, it sounds so conceited, but my biggest gripe in life has always been just not having enough time to do all the things I want to do.
I know.
That's been a thing. I meet people that are like, I don't know what I want to do. And there's nothing more confusing
I know
to me than that, because
I also don't understand people who say they're bored.
Yeah. Well, it depends on the situation.
Look, if you're stuck in the DMV and you have to sit there and wait.
Right.
Yeah. That's boring.
Yeah. Bored in general is crazy.
But bored when you have a day off or just a day in this world and you have the freedom to go do what you want. Huh?
My first thing is,
what does that even mean?
Was your upbringing one where you were like doted on? Like, are you bored because somebody's not like throwing you up in the air and like doing the coochie coo thing? That
could be part of it. Yeah.
I've dated women that are very like, they need me giving them insane amounts of attention. Otherwise they're very bored. And
So
I love attention, but if you got to go to work and do some shit, I have a billion things I can do.
Right.
And that I'm looking forward to doing.
That's one thing Ashley has always been rad about. I mean, when we were first dating, she was more of like the clingy girlfriend type.
Yeah.
She was so young, it doesn't even really count. But for the most part, 99% of the time, she's always been super cool about like, okay, you go do your thing. I'm going to go do my thing. See you later.
Right.
You know, she almost never busts my balls during the day. Like, text me back instantly.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, no, not at all.
No, it's healthy to have that fucking space. It's always crazy when dudes are the clingy ones.
Yeah,
that's an odd thing. That's an odd thing to see.
Well, I think it also comes from, you know, how they were raised. And
100%.
God, that's so crazy, right? Like, everything is just about that. Like, how you were fucking raised, the environment you grew up in.
And what's crazy is you don't realize that until like fucking 30 plus.
I know, it's way too late.
You spend your 20s just being like, why is everything so unfair? And then you realize you're the problem.
Yeah. For sure. We're going into time here. This is rolling on by. This is nice.
Did you watch I think earlier you were saying you didn't watch UFC 236?
I didn't.
Dude, it was so a lot of people are saying it was the headline fight and then the main fight and then the co-main were two of the best fights like in UFC history. And they were fantastic. So the co-main was Israel Adesanya.
And that's Stylebender? They call him Stylebender?
Yeah, that's Stylebender against Kelvin Gastelum. That was great. Kelvin Gastelum just has this big-ass head. He can eat insane shots. Like, it was one of those losses where he lost and everybody was so impressed with him. Like, it didn't even seem negative. It was just like, whoa. Like, you don't ever see somebody lose, and then as they're like walking out of the arena, people are looking at him like that's a dangerous dude. Like he just ate those kind of shots, and he almost had Adesanya hurt. I mean, he did have him hurt in the first round. He almost had him finished. It was good. It went down to the fucking bitter end. It was a decision win for Adesanya, but it was super exciting. And then after that was Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier, and
Looks like Dustin won.
Dustin is he's too big at that. Like he's too big for Max at 155.
How-
and he's powerful. God damn, he's so strong.
Is that what that means, that Holloway's only lost 4 times? Or is it the other way around?
Yes. Yep.
Because he hasn't
he's
lost
only-
very much, right?
No, he lost to Conor McGregor. He lost to Poirier once, because this was Poirier Holloway 2.
Yeah.
And then who else did he lose to? I can't remember.
I
who
like
else.
him.
He's great, dude.
He's super cool.
He handled the loss so well. It was insane.
Yeah, I heard maybe it was Shav or Rogan talking about how that's one of the things he's really good about.
Oh yeah,
He's a good loser, you know?
he really is.
He's even classy about that.
Yeah, I would say it's like him, Dominic Cruz, Conor McGregor. They're great about it. Conor
What's
has
Dominic Cruz up to? Is he?
he's been doing a lot of, I think, some rehab on some shit. I don't know if he has like a legit injury, but he's been rehabbing some shit. And then yeah, I don't know. I bet he's excited now that TJ's out. I can't imagine that he's not pumped to get back in there and fight whoever.
What do you think about the TJ thing?
It's unfortunate.
But you weren't a huge fan of him anyway, right?
I liked him. I definitely I rooted for him over Cody. The 2 times that he fought Cody, I was in TJ's corner for that. I really wanted
Cody
him.
just seems like kind of a little bitch.
He does, yeah.
He
He's
just bitches and moans all the time, and he
Yeah.
can't stop talking about TJ.
right.
Like
yeah.
the whole him going to Denver debacle, that whole drama.
Well, he's the classic like fatherless dude that like he's just always unhinged.
So Uriah is like his dad.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's a very emotional guy. He's very big on loyalty, and he just
Right. Which is cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
I mean, his last fight, I can't even remember who the fuck it was against. Pedro something maybe. He
Oh yeah. Who the fuck was that?
he like got hit once, and then Cody just like fucking loses his mind after eating one shot and just starts swinging and gets knocked out because of it. He's just
Hey guy.
It's so easy to pull him into like an emotional state. I'd like to see him get a little more focused. Then I think he'd be really dangerous.
Yeah.
But, who knows?
Did you see that Uriah Faber was on Logan Paul's podcast?
I did see that. Yeah, I
actually
didn't watch it.
I watched most of it. It was
Yeah?
actually really good. Yeah.
That's sick.
It was interesting. I mean, you can tell that Logan's a fight fan, and
Oh, he definitely is. Yeah, it seems like he's been chilling out a little bit too.
yeah,
He's
not
growing
as
up.
douchey.
Yeah.
He's still Logan Paul,
Right.
but he's 24, dude.
Yeah.
If he's already growing up at this point, like one would assume, by the time he's in his late 20s, he's gonna be all right.
It's a tough world to grow up in too.
Oh shit, dude!
Constant validation and money and.
A lot of money, a lot of fame,
Mm-hmm.
and also in a medium that didn't exist before. This is all new.
Oh yeah,
A YouTube star? I still barely even know what that means.
I know.
A vlogger?
Yeah.
You ever try to explain stuff like that to like your grandparents?
It's tough.
It's tough.
Especially when
It's tough.
Like I barely understand
Dude,
it.
recently, did I tell you about, I don't know if I told you, a couple of weeks ago, I was talking to a barista over at the Starbucks I go to a lot. She's a good friend of mine. Kelsey, what's up? Name drop. And we were talking about the podcast. And this older dude that goes there all the time, he's like the typical old vet guy. He always wears the Navy, I was in the Navy retired hat, and it's like got the ship he was on. And
Yeah.
very sweet guy, but he's pretty fucking clueless. And he just out of nowhere started to ask me about what a podcast was. He had no idea. He's like, "What is this? I've heard about the pod. What is a pod?" I'm like, "Oh, a podcast. It's like a radio show, but on the internet." That alone was just like I had spoken, Farsi to him or something. He
Yeah.
had no idea. It's like, okay, again, it's like a radio show, like old people talking on the radio. Is like, yeah. I go, but it's just hosted on the internet. He goes, oh, okay. And where do I find? And I'm just like trying to explain to him how to even find the show. And this whole time, this lady who was probably couple years older than me. She's sitting maybe 5 feet away from me, off to the left, and the whole time she's just smiling but looking down, and you could tell she was listening. And then after the conversation was over and the guy walked away, she looked up and she goes, "That was very sweet of you." That was very sweet of you, yeah, for trying. You know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's such an old guy question. Where do I find it?
Where do I mean,
Like,
what do you even say to him?
There isn't like a one-word answer to that.
No. I mean, he doesn't know what iTunes is. He doesn't know what
Right.
Spotify is.
Yeah.
YouTube is just a thing he's heard his grandkids say. You know what I mean? Like, that happens, and I don't want it to happen to me, man.
That's when
Is
you
it
just
going
say.
to?
That's when you just say what you want to do. Go to a computer in the browser. You put in meatspin.com. All the podcasts are there. You literally just
porn.
yeah. You just pick whichever one you want,
Yep.
and then he's got a fucking a circle head banging dick on his computer. That little fucker lied to me.
Yeah, that would suck because I know I'm going to see him again.
Right. Yeah.
He's there all the fucking time.
Well, that's the thing. He's an old guy, so when he gets mad at you, you just go, no, I didn't say. That's not
Yeah.
what I said.
You didn't hear me right, old
You
guy.
have dementia, dude.
What was your favorite 90s sitcom?
Oh fuck. I mean, there's so many, dude. I've already picked. Like
I'll drop
3.
I'll drop 3 and you pick your favorite.
Okay.
Full House, Family Matters, Step by Step.
Out of those, Full House. all
Me
day.
too. Ding 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 ding
Yeah.
ding ding. Beep, 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 beep,
100%.
beep, beep, beep.
Okay, what about between Jesus.
By the way, Uncle Jesse,
What a babe.
so cool.
Yeah, and then his wife, who was
Fucking hot as shit.
and all up in that college scandal
Oh,
shit.
that's right. That stupid bitch.
Love it.
What do you got? What are your?
I gotta look it up because I only got one in mind now.
Oh, I just thought of a couple.
Let's do. Oh, okay. Yeah, here we go. Let's do. This is gonna be tough.
Okay.
Home Improvement,
Oh, so good.
Fresh Prince,
Oh, come on.
and Seinfeld.
Come on. Yo.
Yeah, that's tough.
Seinfeld was a later thing for me. 'Cause
Yeah,
I got
same.
into Curb, and then I got that humor, so I went back and got into Seinfeld.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say, to be true to like the 90s kid in me, I feel like I can't win with my answer.
It's tough, yeah, because this is like championship level. This actually isn't even fair.
I would say Home Improvement at the end of the day, just because I watched it all the fucking time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But Fresh Prince is like, so good.
Fresh Prince is so good.
So crazy. It's like legitimately funny too.
I watched a lot of Roseanne because it was my mom's favorite.
Oh, so good, man. I love Roseanne, how fucking dark it was. My mom hates Roseanne. She hated it.
And then Boy Meets World because
Boy Meets World's great.
Topanga was like,
So hot, but not hot at all.
she was
by the
like
way.
boner 1 through 100 for me.
Yeah, and now you look back and you're like, what?
No, I mean, I'm still down.
Oh, you're still down.
Yeah.
Still down with Topanga.
Yeah, for like 13-year-old Topanga.
What is Topanga, by the way?
Yeah.
That's not a name.
Was it Topanga Lawrence? Was
It's
that
like
her
a
whole
name in California.
Oh, dude, Saved by the Bell. I mean, that's
Topanga Canyon or something.
it's very possible Saved by the Bell is my number one.
Word. That's border 80s to 90s show now.
Dude, Hanging with Mr. Cooper.
Hanging, Mr. Coop. It's so good.
That's
Hanging
amazing.
Mr. Coop. So now you got my brain going.
Yeah, same. I know. As soon as I saw that one, Sister.
Shit.
Wait, is that? Yeah, that's 90s. That's for sure 90s.
Yes.
What am I thinking here? Dude, Martin.
Martin. I like the 90s, man. I like that, like, black culture was so fucking dope in the 90s.
It was great.
It was everything, man.
Mm-hmm.
It was everything. Have you ever heard the story how Will Smith got the fucking job for Fresh Prince?
No.
It's pretty wild. I will not do it justice. I won't even try to recap it. But if you go to Will Smith's YouTube channel, there's a video called How I Became the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And it's a really great story.
Oh, that's sick. I'll check that
It's
out.
really like the right place, right time. But then he pounced on that luck. Like he took opportunity and just made it happen. Really fucking cool.
Dude, I fucked with all of these. Night Court.
Night Court was great.
So good. Perfect Strangers. Loved it.
Was Perfect Strangers the one with the robot girl?
No, it was Balky and
Oh, yeah. Perfect Strangers
fuck
was great.
it, yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm talking about?
with the robot girl.
It was like a family sitcom, but the daughter was a fucking robot.
It was it. live action or cartoon?
It was live action. What was that fucking called? Sitcom where daughter is a robot.
Dude, Grace Under Fire. I forgot
Grace
about.
Under Fire.
Oh yeah, Wayne.
Small Wonder.
I've literally never heard of that. I don't even think that's on this list.
See, that might be. Oh, that was 80s. Never mind. So that's 85 to 89.
Oh, okay.
So that crazy old shit. That little girl was a robot, and they would like pull down this little flap on her dress, and the dad would wind her up every morning.
Wow.
Isn't that fucking wild? And
That
it was
is
just
so
a normal
80s.
actor girl that would kind of walk around robotically. Like, what?
I remember
The fuck?
watching Three's Company, and even at a young age, before I knew anything about sex, knowing that like that his situation, his living situation, was desirable. Like being like, whoa,
Right.
both those chicks are really attractive, and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
live with like.
Yeah. It was
I think I just
cool.
assumed that he like always saw them changing and stuff, but
Did you like Frasier?
no.
Stefan loved Frasier, and he kind of got me into it.
Dude, I know so many people that like that's their number one, like
Yeah.
all time.
There's a whole podcast about Frasier.
I believe it.
Family Matters was dope.
Yeah, it's classic.
Yeah, I mean, that was just the time, dude. Blossom.
Would you say that like kind of in metal
Third
how
Rock.
like there's the big four? Do you
Yeah.
think that the big four of 90s would probably be Home Improvement, Step by Step,
You got to
Family
put Friends
Matters? Yeah, I
in
guess.
there. But I now I understand why you said. Yeah, I'm gonna take that back because Friends is kind of its own thing. It doesn't really fall into like the family sitcom vibe.
Well, in a weird way too, I wouldn't even put Seinfeld in there.
Exactly. See, I would agree with that.
And it's fucking huge. I mean, Seinfeld and Friends, it doesn't really get bigger than that.
Well, because it's still what that single camera. You know, they have the laugh
Right.
track, the live audience thing, or whatever.
Mhm.
It's still that type of show, but it's not Fresh Prince. It's not Family Matters. It's not
Yeah.
Full House. Like that's its own family sitcom. I guess
Yeah.
is really the genre.
Yeah, and I guess it's subjective, but for me, yeah, it's Home Improvement, Family Matters, Step by Step, Full House. Those were just
Family Matters, Full House. What'd you say? Home Improvement,
Step by Step, Family
by Step.
Matters.
Fresh Prince. Those are the top 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess
I'd
I'm
go with
mixing
that.
like I'm mixing popularity with what I preferred. I don't
Married
know.
with Children though. Did you like that?
I loved it. But
Me
see,
too.
Married with Children was so like
so crazy. Yeah.
that was like on the fringe. Like that
sure.
was I mean, I remember thinking that it was like possibly pornographic in parts.
Mhm.
Like
Yep. It was like the Family Guy of its day. I mean,
yeah,
it was so
it was
fucking.
it was the
crazy.
most raunchy for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it still is.
Mm-hmm.
Like it would never fly today.
I remember being so confused about like one of his gimmicks was that he would always put his hands in his pants.
Yeah.
And
I
like
know.
I remember thinking like he's just holding his dick. And he's not.
Right,
It's
because you were a
just-
kid, you didn't really get it.
Yeah.
I know now I get it. I'm like, oh.
I
makes
just thought
sense.
he had like kind of a high dick and he was just holding it.
I remember I was probably 9 or so, and I got in this habit where I scratched my nuts all the time
Mm-hmm.
to the point where like I made them itchier because I was just scratching on them.
Right, yeah.
You know, kids do weird shit. And I was a weird kid.
And who knows how clean your hands are as
Yeah,
a
I
kid.
was
You're just rubbing shit all over.
Filthy little kid. And my dad called me out on it, and he said, he's like, yeah, you look like Al Bundy. And I remember when he said that, I was like, oh, that makes sense. Because he's the guy that touches his balls all day.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to be that.
Think about that now. You couldn't get away with that. A character just constantly fondling himself.
No, talking shit about his wife and women in general, and like, so good.
What was your feeling on
She's my
Peg
hero.
Bundy?
She was the best. That's my kind of broad.
Massive crush, dude.
That's my kind of broad.
Yeah.
Big old knockers, big old titters.
I got to show you this image that like
She loves her husband even though he's a fucking piece of shit.
so to anybody listening, oh my God, did he take it down? No, he didn't. Okay. So anybody listening, I follow this dude. His name's Cheyenne. Incredible artist, but his Instagram handle is Indian Giver.
Okay.
He's the shit. But anyway, he posted something recently. You can go check it out now that you have his info. So what he does a lot of the time, he like puts like fake tattoos on like culture, like icons within culture. He did
That's a
one.
great idea.
He did one of Peg Bundy that just like made me feel some shit.
Like he'll take a picture and then
Yeah.
Oh
look at
my god, that is so dope. Look
Like,
how cool she looks.
that. Dude,
That's like the coolest girl ever.
I would date her in 2 seconds.
She looks like this girl Sue that I used to work with at the Crystal Ballroom, only with red hair.
Katie Seagal. Her husband is Kurt
Yes.
something, the fucking Sons of Anarchy guy.
Metcher, Catcher.
Are you thinking
Cheddar.
Metzger?
Yeah, maybe that's what I'm
Because that's a
thinking.
comedian.
Oh yeah,
Kurt-
Sutherland.
Yeah, now you're
Something
getting
like that,
closer.
right?
Now you're getting closer. Yeah.
That guy. Yeah, he's cool.
But yeah, dude, some of these are like, come on, dude. Julia Roberts and fucking Pretty Woman.
Oh, so fucking hot.
Tatted up. That's a
Without
problem.
tats is hot too. That is a problem.
That is a fucking problem right there.
Dude, I had such a crush on Julia Roberts. Still do. God damn it.
Possibly the best one.
What the fuck is she holding there?
An umbrella, I think.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I heard she checked herself into a thing.
Yeah? Britney
Fucking,
Spears?
Mental hospital or whatever.
Well, you know.
I know. I mean, people are weird about that stuff. Like, oh, cool, you're going to make fun of someone for having a mental health problem?
Yeah, I know.
Good job,
it's-
world.
Dude, it's...
Fucking good job. Like, when she shaved her head and, like, dude, she's a mother. Fucking relax.
Yeah, well, nobody...
What the fuck have you done with your life?
It's just like... It's like Dave Chappelle said. He talked about when Martin Lawrence was fucking naked out in the street
Yeah.
waving a gun saying they're trying to kill me. He's
Yeah.
like, everybody just dismissed him, said he's crazy, but nobody asked themselves, is the environment he lives in a little bit sick? You know, is Hollywood, is like, is celebrity, is that a sick environment to live in? And
The answer is yes.
too many people are like, of course not. You're getting a ton of
Right.
money and everybody loves you. That's so healthy. It's not.
It's not.
It's poison. Like you can, too much of anything is poisonous, and I think that goes with it goes without saying that includes validity and, you know, fucking money and
I know.
expectation and judgment and yeah, fuck that.
You want to do some current events?
Sure.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. By the way, we were just both sitting so disrespectfully.
I was so comfortable.
Actually, before you do that, I'm going to take a hot piss.
Okay.
Okay.
I might have to go afterwards, honestly. So did you watch the PGA, whatever the fuck, that Tiger won?
God, no, I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I didn't watch any of it. I just heard about it.
Yeah, same.
It's a cool story, man. It's
Yeah.
the comeback kid, you know?
11.5 million was his purse.
He's 43 years old, too.
Or is that
bro.
the total purse for the event?
I don't know.
I don't know.
No, I think that is his.
That's what he won.
Yeah, it's no joke, man. I heard something, not to take away from the story, but I think someone said that they just recently let black people into the tour, the PGA Tour, in like the late 90s or some shit.
Holy shit.
If I'm way off on that, excuse me, but I think I heard that earlier today,
Yeah.
and my mind was blown.
Holy fuck.
So it's historically a very racist sport.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's a rich white guy sport,
Yeah.
and we all know it.
Damn.
I played a lot of golf as a kid.
Man, I went to Top Golf within like the last 6 months, I think.
So fun.
Dude, that shit's hard.
Fuck yeah, it's
That
hard.
is
And that's not
dec-
even golf.
That's
Like,
deceivingly hard just to hit the ball
Just to
and
hit
not look like you have fucking spina bifida when you're doing it. Like that was insane.
But now imagine like doing that strategically over the course of 18 holes or even
Yeah,
9.
What the fuck, man?
And then you have to like choose different clubs depending on how far and like what the angle is, what the thickness of the grass.
Mhm.
Have you ever putted before?
Yeah.
Putting is impossibly hard.
Man, I love miniature golf.
Fuck yeah, dude.
I don't play that
Golf
enough.
is actually fun as shit. It's a good time. It's good
Yeah.
to just go out with a buddy and have a couple beers, and it's a good talking game.
You know what I'm obsessed with?
Dude, that'd be a fun podcast actually.
What, a golf one?
Yeah, like we could record and play a game of golf because we're terrible at it.
Oh, dude, that would
would
be
be
like 100%
hysterical.
YouTube video, I think.
Yeah, there you go.
That would make more sense. You see my terrible swing and shit.
Yep, I love that. We can do a side show.
Yeah.
Where James and Alan go do shit that they're not good at.
Dude, cornhole.
Love cornhole.
I am so goddamn obsessed. That's the silliest thing I'm obsessed with, probably.
It's fucking great, man.
I love it so much.
I'm good too.
So am I. You ever watch the ESPN like championships?
No,
Yo,
but I
that's-
know it's real. I know
it's a real
Vice did
thing,
a thing about it.
And it's so fucking entertaining.
Yeah. There's like sponsorships and shit.
Dude,
Dude, that's so rad.
I watched one of the best matches last summer. It was, I didn't want it to end. It was so sick. I couldn't believe
like on
that,
ESPN.
Yeah,
Oh fuck yeah! I bet it was like really exciting though.
it was so good. It was
they're
like
probably really good.
it was
right?
the 1 and 2 teams, and they were going against. Oh, dude.
Now, how far are those guys throwing? Like,
I don't even remember what regulation is, but it was decent.
did it seem about the distance that you do? Like,
Yeah, I
out
tried.
camping and
Yeah, I think the boards that I have are like a foot shorter than regulation, but the
Okay.
width and like the circumference of the hole and everything
I
is.
need to get another one. I actually won a set at a construction site that my dad and I were working.
That's
They-
badass because
yeah,
they
they're
are
giant.
expensive.
Yeah, they
dude.
are. It was really cool though.
God, like for like the one that I wanted, it was like $185.
Right.
Couldn't believe it.
But anyway, yeah, Tiger Woods wins the PGA Tour. That's really crazy.
Good
and
job.
you know, for all the scuzzbags out there, I mean, he was really getting kicked while he was down for a long time.
100%. Yeah, he was on like almost some Lance Armstrong shit.
That's right. So it's good to see one of the scumbags come back and take a win.
Yeah, another feel good story.
Yeah, real feel good here.
71-year-old Louisiana man has been charged with 100 counts of first-degree rape of minors. The allegations date back to the 1970s.
He raped how many people? 100 people?
100 counts of first-degree rape of minors. And that's minors
Oh,
like young people,
fuck.
not people that work in a mine.
Yeah, not minors, but
Yeah.
minors.
But, minors.
That's really gross.
Let me see if I can glean some details here.
What a piece of shit.
Yeah, so his name is...
I mean, what the fuck, man?
How are you not going to... Joseph Fountain.
Also,
Sheriff's-
how do you rape 100 people and get away with it? for
I
so
know.
long?
That is, he had a little system going. Fountain was arrested on 50 counts of first-degree rape on April 9th. Days later, additional victims were identified. The sheriff's office isn't saying how many, and 50 more counts were added.
Go back up to that asshole's face. Oh, that is so the face of that guy.
Yeah, his face does not scream, this isn't fair. His face screams, yeah, I should be here.
Ugh. What's your thought on... well, I'll just go for the question. What's your thought on the death penalty? Where do you stand on that? Capital punishment.
Man, I don't know. There have been moments where I went real fucking Republican with it, and I was just like, in certain situations,
Fry them all.
yeah, I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
that
yeah.
guy's worthless. Get him the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And it's hard not to feel that way about this dude. Like,
It's tough.
you are going to, because
It's
a lot
tough.
of people are like, well, rape isn't murder, but if you really get into the details of it, you really get deep into the weeds, just the amount of damage that something can do. Yes, it's not
Yes.
death. You didn't take their life, but you have done irreparable damage
That's right.
to their quality of life
That's
for the
right.
rest of their life.
Yep.
And it's hard. 100 counts.
You've ruined their fucking life.
It's
100 people, and then that's just the individuals. Then think about the people around those people, that the people who had to date these victims, the parents of the victims, the children of the victims. Like, you affect so many people's lives when you do this shit.
Yep.
I don't know, man. I think there was a movie with George Clooney. The name is escaping me, but there's a part where his character is asked this question. He's like running for politics or something.
Yeah.
And he says something like, because he's against capital punishment, and the person interviewing him asks, well, what would you do if someone raped and murdered your wife? And he said, well, what I would want to do is I'd want to track him down and fucking kill him. But the state shouldn't be doing that.
Right.
And I think there's a big difference there.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, like politically and like what I should vote as, I guess I am kind of against it. Just for that reason, I don't think we as a people, as a society, should be doing that. But
I know.
when fuckers like this are roaming around, it's real tough to not say, well, fuck him. He loses his right to live.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Chop his dick off.
It's one of those situations where, like,
I don't know.
Maybe it's not morally the right thing to do to take his life, but if the father or mother or any family member or the victim themselves got together and fucked this dude up and killed him,
Yeah.
I don't know that I would judge them
No,
either.
at all. Maybe we're actually more savage. Like, I want him because death is too easy for this fucking
Yeah.
cocksucker.
Mm-hmm.
I want him to get raped himself in prison for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Like, I want him to literally have his dick chopped off, fed to him, then he shits out that poop dick, and he's got to eat that poop
And then
dick.
you got to eat it. Yeah. I
Like,
know.
that's
it's-
what I want.
And then where I kind of start to challenge myself is
Man,
ultimately what is the goal? What's the mission?
that's
and
right. That's right.
Is it even possible? Is there a road to redemption for somebody that's raped 100 children?
Rehabilitation. Is
Yeah.
there actual...
Is
yeah, I
there
know.
any redemption whatsoever? And then if not,
Probably not.
what, it's, I don't know. In a weird way, like to your point, having him sentenced to death is the most humane thing. A lot of people might want to torture him, and that's understandable as
Mhm.
well.
I think there's a lot of argument for the way that the Nordic countries do this.
Mm-hmm.
I think in Norway, I believe they don't have sentences over 20 years, maybe 25 years. It's something like that. And the success rate it speaks for itself. Now, you have to take into account Norway is not America. It's comparing two different things,
Yeah,
apples and
yeah.
oranges. But for what it is, demographically, they are very successful with rehabilitation. And like you were saying, like, what's the point? What's the point of locking someone up in prison? Is it just to do that and teach them a lesson? Or is it to rehabilitate?
Right.
Is it to, like, what is the point?
And is it possible to rehabilitate somebody by throwing them into the most violent and depressing?
Especially in
place.
America. Our prison system is an absolute fucking nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
It's a joke. It's a fucking joke.
Yeah.
It's such a mess.
It's just
These privately owned prisons.
Yep.
And, oh my God.
Yeah, it's tough. I'm glad that I'm not the person that's got to make the decisions like that.
No shit. I
That's
know,
rough.
man. Yeah.
All right.
What else we got?
London climate protesters glue themselves to train as
What?
300 arrested.
Yeah, I just pulled this up and sent it to you. I didn't even get to check it out.
Yeah,
I
I'll
thought
let
that was
this,
such a ridiculous headline.
I'm going to let this ad play and then I can... oh, cool. 25-second ad.
That's reasonable.
Insane.
How does that still exist?
Drives me
These
nuts.
fucking websites, man.
Well, I got to start being smarter and just throwing this shit into YouTube.
There you go.
Because the fact that we're on ABC News, like they...
Because you've even tried to skip the ads, pause it,
And then it'll
it comes
they'll
back.
resync, yeah.
Shit like this kind of pisses me off. Over 300 climate change activists have been arrested during 3 days of demonstrations in London.
Protesters have been attempting to disrupt transportation in the city, including gluing themselves to trains and blocking off bridges.
Super glue, do not pull me. Some asshole with his hands super glued
He's
to
like
a train.
barely super glued.
Yeah, what a pussy. See, that guy is actually going
The action
for
is
it.
being led by the Radical Extinction Rebellion group with the aim of moving governments worldwide to take decisive action on the climate and something else. I couldn't read it fast enough.
And what is I'm all for it. Climate change is a disaster, but what does this do? It just pisses everyone off.
It's hard not to feel like the goal here is to be seen in handcuffs being taken away.
Yeah.
Because then it's like,
Yeah.
I'm Nelson Mandela.
Yeah, it's like, no, you're not.
Dude, you are the Kmart of that at best.
Exactly. The Kmart of Nelson Mandela's.
Yeah. It's just,
Well,
let me hurry up and be a martyr. It's just like
I'm
what
all
we were
for the
talking
cause,
about.
but fuck those people.
Somebody dies or there's some sort of a tragedy. There's no bigger martyr than the person who was killed, and yet people are happy to get in line and try to take second place on that.
Absolutely.
Like, this is my best friend and I lost him. As a dude that you've talked to once in the last decade. Beyonce drops surprise 40-track Homecoming album.
Crazy, man. I just saw the headline. Don't know anything about it.
Oh, God, that's so much text.
Look at her ass. God damn, that's crazy.
It's big from the front.
Yeah, it is big from the front. That's how you know it's big. 40-track, and it accompanied the Netflix documentary about the event that arrived early this morning. Okay.
Rumors of a new album called B7
Oh, wait. So
spread in the hours before the live albums. Oh, so it's a live album.
2018. Oh, so it's of the Coachella performance.
Yeah. A little less cool.
So a 40-track companion album with the documentary. Is that?
Yeah,
how
I
to
think
put it?
so.
Hmm.
Well, she was probably like 40 tracks. That's not long enough. What if let's do a documentary too?
Yeah. The album includes 2 bonus cuts near the end before I let it go.
B7. I don't know if
I've
I like
been
that as an
on.
album title. A little bit bingo. Or would that be Battleship? Could it be both?
Wait, what is it? What does it say down below? Is it just available like in the normal sense? Is it streaming or that's weird, right?
It is, yeah.
It's kind of genius though. Like that's what they do. That's what.
Yeah, I remember when Drake did this with that.
Yeah.
I guess it wasn't technically a mixtape because I think those were supposed to be free, but the if you're reading this, it's too late or whatever. He just like surprise dropped that like July of 2016, I think.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of when you have that kind of demand
Mm-hmm.
for your product, as it were.
Yeah,
It's kind of dope to just like boom,
I
here,
know.
world.
Oh yeah,
It's also fairly egotistical, but you know,
it doesn't get
whatever.
much bigger than Beyonce. You got a movie pick?
I do, yeah. I forgot about that. I do. Let's do movie pick for this week is going to be Confessions of a Dangerous Mind.
Oh,
Go ahead and pull up the trailer while I chat about it. Have you seen this movie, Alan?
no.
It was like early 2000s, I want to say, or maybe mid 2004-ish, something like that. Really kind of a sleeper indie movie, but everyone's in it. George Clooney directed it. He's in it. Sam, what's his name?
Rockwell,
Sam Rockwell, thank you. Julia Roberts, speaking of,
killer.
is in it. It's written by Charlie Kaufman, one of the best screenplay writers of all time. He did Adaptation, Being John Malkovich,
Oh yeah.
and this, and among many other things.
Did he do Memento?
Maybe.
Huh.
Did he? No, I don't think he did. That feels like one of his, but I don't think he did actually. But real quick, so the plot of this movie is fucking crazy. So the plot is about a television producer named Chuck Barris in the 60s, I want to say. And he did like The Gong Show, the original Dating Game.
This is all just sounding so familiar.
So he made all those like the first like kind of he was like the first Howard Stern.
Right.
Like just kind of reality show, kind of garbagey, like lowbrow shit. And he was really criticized for a lot of the shows he did, but they were wildly successful, like really, really popular. And the whole time he wrote this memoir later on in life where he claimed that because he would disappear a lot too. Like people couldn't get a hold of him for 2 weeks at a time. No one knew why, or even longer. And then later on in life, he claimed that he worked for the CIA as a secret agent and was a fucking hitman and an assassin.
I might have seen this movie.
I'm sure you did. It was pretty like kind of a buzzy movie back in the day. Yeah, 2002. So fuck, that was a minute ago. God damn. It was one of Sam Rockwell's first movies.
My name is Charles Hirsch Barris. I've written pop songs. I've been a television producer. In addition, I have murdered 33 human beings.
I talked to a psychic today, and she said that you are going to be very successful.
A pretty girl.
Oh, yeah, Drew
asks three
Barrymore.
handsome guys questions, and she picks one to date. That's it. That's the show.
His future was uncertain.
I'm sorry about your show. Are you okay?
I just want to entertain people.
His every move was being watched.
I could use your help. I work for the Office of Diplomatic Security.
Is that the CIA or something?
Are you interested?
I can teach you at least 30 different ways to kill a man, Mr. Barris.
The edge of your hand against your adversary's Adam's apple.
Mr. Goldberg.
Hi, Chuck. I have a hole in my daytime schedule.
It's the Gong Show.
It's a perfect cover. TV producer by day, CIA operative at night. Think of it as a hobby, something you do to relax.
Dankeschön.
I'm Chuck.
Here you are, Chuck. Pleasantly surprised. You're not like the other murderers.
When you lead two different lives, it's easy to forget what side you're on.
Right. Penny, Patricia, how'd you find me?
Are you serious? This is what I do for a living.
What does she mean that's what she
You're
does
dead
for
in
a
my
living?
book.
Do you want me around or not?
Everything's complicated, Ben. You work for me. There's no backing out now. We let you in on everything.
Drew Barrymore, George Clooney, Julia Roberts, and Sam Rockwell as Chuck Barris.
Look who comes out of hiding.
Someone changed sides.
It's over. It's finished. Your history.
You're a dead man.
Confessions of a Dangerous Mind.
Okay, so I gotta say, trailers suck back then.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I love that trailer.
Well, but it's
It
like
was so corny.
So you like you like
Yeah.
the like campiness of it. Yeah, I mean I like it too, but it's not very indicative of the movie. Like this fucking jazzy
Dude, they
music.
never are. Oh my god,
It's way darker of a movie.
I can't remember what movie it was, but I watched the trailer for
It's hilarious.
maybe it was like fucking Blank Check or some shit.
Oh, it's fucking crazy.
It makes it look like it's a
Well, you know-
murder mystery.
Just gonna about to play again. Some of
It's
the
on
problem.
mute.
Okay. Is the guy talking coming this summer?
Yeah,
in a world.
same fucking dude.
They don't do that as much anymore.
Yeah, not at all. Real quick, I wanted to bring up.
I mean, it's a funny movie. It's just not that fucking.
Are you pumped for
insane.
the Dax Shepard Lake Bell show? Have you heard about this?
Yeah, I've been following her on Instagram.
Yeah.
What's it called again?
I don't know. It's a farm something.
Farm. Yeah, but it seems. Is it like a sitcom or is it gonna
Yeah.
be like? See, that's weird.
They call it like an environmental, like an environment or a setting comedy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where is it gonna be? Is it like ABC or some shit?
Yes.
Oh wow.
It's ABC.
Yeah, I'll check it out. I mean, I love both of those people.
I guess it was written by her too. So.
Oh, dope.
Yeah.
I mean, I
saw
didn't
that like
know
a week ago, and I was like, I wonder if James is all over this.
Oh shit. Yeah. I mean, it's not my style. I don't like those kind of shows.
Same. Yeah.
The sitcom vibe.
Yeah, I like that. I told you recently. I've been listening to Armchair Expert, Dax Shepard's podcast. I love it.
I've only listened to maybe 2 episodes, but I definitely like it.
He's awesome. Really bright dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great show.
Cool, man. Yeah, I'll check it out. Anything else?
I don't believe so.
Alrighty. Well, I think this is a good time to call it a night.
Dude, we're actually gonna get under an hour and a half.
Woohoo!
We've been trying to do that for
Did it.
like 6 weeks.
I know, man.
Shit,
It's
maybe
really
longer.
tough to do.
Yeah.
You get going before you know it. 2 hours gone by.
Yeah, it's so easy.
Well, as we say every episode, the fee to listen to the show is to pretty please go and tell one person about this podcast.
Absolutely.
That if you just did that, that would mean the world to us. We do work very hard at the show, despite our lowbrow sense of humor. Right?
Yeah.
There's a lot to this stuff that
There's commitment alone.
It's a lot of,
like,
just getting here. And,
yeah.
I know. So yeah, that would mean the world to us if you did that. Go and subscribe to the show on iTunes. Follow us at the Stateside Podcast on Instagram. And next week we're going to try to get a guest. I think that's a good time to bring in a guest again.
Mm-hmm.
I have a few lined up. Not totally sure who, but you'll just have to wait and see.
Killer.
All right, man. Let's let these people go.
All right.
See you guys
Later.
Bye.
Whatever happened to predictability? The milkman, the paperboy, evening TV. You miss your old familiar friends, but waiting just around the bend. Everywhere you look, there's a heart, a hand to hold on to. Everywhere you look,